I am a refugee in my own home. My kids are on summer vacation,
Ooh.
and like let's just say if I seem all calm and zen like right now, I wasn't 5 minutes ago. Okay.
So this must be the not fun time as a parent then when the kids are back and you're well probably a little bit of A,
It's
a little bit of B, right?
it's a time of transition.
Yeah.
The first few days where you got to kind of feel yourself out, feel each other like out basically, and just kind of like, okay, how's this going to go? And it's it's different because they're older. Like they're teenagers.
Yeah.
They have their own agenda. It's not like my agenda is how it's going to go. We are now there are five people in the home, each one of whom has their own ideas as to how life should operate.
A teenager can speak
So
back to you, like when you're a child, you can kind of be like, all right, we're going to the zoo today, but now
yeah,
you're like, uh-oh.
no, yeah, that's exactly when they were kids. We was just like stack up the events. It's like okay, zoo, beach. I call it the beach in Verdun. It's not actually a beach. It's a it's a muddy patch of river with some kind of what looks a bit like sand. But we had like a thing for every day, and it's just like as long as we're water park 17 times in a summer kind of thing or whatever. But now it's like if we're not going shopping in Paris, then well, is this summer at all, really? And that's not happening.
No kidding. That's a big ask. But it's great to chat with you, man. Sam Roberts, how you been up? What have you been up to? We chatted right before you went off on the road for the Adventures of Ben Blank tour. How's everything been?
Everything's been good. Yeah, I've been really busy since then, just playing shows. It's just
Yeah.
been a bit of a whirlwind, to use the old phrase of playing. And I think that given the fact that we had all those years of kind of ups and downs when it came to when we were going to play, if we, is a show going to happen, is it not going to happen, what are the next 6 months look like, what's life going to be like in the next 6 months now that we're back in this sort of steady flow, just being reminded what it's actually like to play in a touring rock and roll band again. And yeah, just having to be up for it every single day. And I think it feels like we've come home finally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you guys spent a couple of weeks on the road throughout Canada and stuff. How was trekking across Canada in the middle of February and March? How did that go?
Oh, it was great. And Alberta saved the best for last. Actually, it was I think we just sort of gone out of February into early March when we played in Calgary, Edmonton, and Red Deer, and we just the drive between Calgary and Edmonton was classic white knuckler the whole way, blowing snow. Like snow, it was so cold that when the snow like takes on a completely new kind of form,
Yeah, yeah,
that you have no real sort of term for, and it was like that the whole way.
yeah.
And so yeah, we Canada saved a little bit of that special winter feeling for us all.
I can
That's how you earn
remember.
your stripes. It's like
Yeah.
that's how you get your black belt in rock and roll. You got a tour in Canada in February. So this
D-
part's easy. It's beautiful. Although I'm saying that, but I know you guys are having a tough time out in Calgary right now, and I'm
I mean, sounds like it's going to be fixed quicker than we thought.
mhm.
Maybe the pipe is on its way from San Diego now, so
Okay.
we
That's
might
good.
have water by the time Stampede gets here. We might not, but I think
Okay,
we're gonna get through
we're
it
gonna
either
make
way.
it work. We're gonna make it work. But I mean, is that the kind of thing where again, it's not something that you ever necessarily consider is going to happen in your life, and all of a sudden you're sort of thrown into this new scenario where nobody is in any way mentally or emotionally prepared for what your life sort of starts to look like from one day to the next. So I'm actually throwing the question back at you, sort of
Yeah, this
how's
is
it been
this is
feeling?
interesting. I've never been interviewed by an artist before, so I kind of like it. It's kind of interesting, man. Like 10 or so years ago, 11 years ago, we had the flood that
Mhm.
threatened Stampede as well, where there was just like so much rainfall and so much like melt that it flooded most of downtown Calgary. And now we're turning it around 11 years later. We are now running out of water, and we're wondering again whether we can hold Stampede around the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
No, I
It
don't want
feels
to
kind
draw
of
too many
cruel.
parallels. Well, and we played Stampede as well that year
You
of the
did.
flood. So I just don't want people to start drawing connections between when our band is on the bill for like a Stampede event and some sort of natural catastrophe. So it has nothing to do with us. I just want to put that out
Stock
there.
your basement
But
and get all your water ready. If you see Sam Roberts on the bill, there might be problems. No, it's you know what? I think Calgary's been great. Everybody for the most part has been really good at like keeping um to like the water restriction and stuff. Like I know like for my family in particular, we turned off the water to the
Mhm.
lawn. I think I've ran one load of dishes in like 2 weeks. My dishwasher is going to be terrible to do.
sounds like my university years actually.
That's
I did.
exactly like your university years. You do it once a month, you get them all done, and then you just slowly put them in the sink again. No big
That's
deal.
it. Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask about you guys playing Stampede. You played last year at Oxford Stomp. What do you guys get up to during Stampede? I'm always curious for artists what your play is during Stampede. It's such a busy time in the city, so there's lots going on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you're sort of hitting the streets of Calgary at the actual, the maximum RPMs that and it's even compared to other places that we find ourselves in the summer. It's Stampede is a thing, so you kind of
Yeah,
have to. We know we've played it enough times that we know we have to hit the ground with running, and come in already like trying to meet the energy of it. And that energy translates into the shows. It's everywhere on the street. I feel uh, sort of really self-conscious about how uncowboy I look, and I want to try. I want to try to do something about that. I think our last
Ooh,
record we tried to bridge the gap a little bit. We added a little. I wanted there's a bit of a sort of cosmic cowboy feeling to the music, and I kind of want to at least take a step in that direction in a fashion sense. So that's a bit of a priority for this year. We always have, we always go out and try to see people on the street and
yeah.
have a good time. Obviously, a few Caesars to get primed up,
There you go.
in the birthplace. It's almost like like a pilgrimage of sorts that way.
It's a
And if we're on the
requirement.
Stampede grounds, we go and check out some of the events and see, just try to get into the spirit. It's one thing, like if you just kind of float in and play a show, you could be anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to kind of, try to embrace what you're a part of in a wider sense too. So yeah, we kind of throw ourselves in there.
Well, it's such an interesting mix of things that are going on, right? Like you can walk across the Stampede grounds and then to a tent, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a rap artist, a country artist, at like EDM and alt rock all playing at the same time. Like it is such a unique mix of like people and sounds going on that it's almost interesting to like kind of network a little bit as an artist at the
Yeah,
Stampede grounds, right?
yeah, yeah. I think it and this applies to so many festivals that we sort of frequent. Anywhere we play, what used to be called a jazz festival is now almost anything but jazz in a lot of ways. And same thing with the blues. They call it a blues fest, but you'll meet, like you say, you've got artists from every possible genre. And that's one of the cool things about the Stampede is that the sort of the definition of what constitutes a musical act on the bill is getting wider and wider and wider. And I think that
Yeah.
that reflects the times, as it should, because yeah, music just keeps sort of taking on new dimensions. It seems daily, and I'm glad that they're kind of keeping in lockstep with that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to again the vibe. It is pretty unmatched in terms of like Canadian festivals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the city transforms and then literally goes right back to exactly the same as it was before. It's wild.
It's pretty amazing. I've been in Calgary sort of like in the thick of the Stampede and then had to come back a week later. And I'm like, what did that even happen? Like, was
Yeah.
that just some sort of hallucination? Because you're right. It just sort of like, it's like a transformer. It just goes back to being itself. And, yeah, it's a pretty amazing thing.
Now, do you have a cowboy hat in the closet ready to go for this show, or are you gonna have to go
Man,
get one before?
I've got my white hat right behind me
Oh,
actually from
perfect.
I don't know if you can't really see it in the screen here, but it's I've got it right there from my first ever Stampede where we were
Really?
white hatted as they call it.
That's amazing.
And you're given this sort of beautiful ceremonial um hat, and I keep it here. Actually, my son did a project on the Calgary Stampede in the
Really?
seventh grade this year. So yeah, I got to regale him with the stories that I've accumulated over all the years. I might have told him that I did a bit of bull riding, but that was I just wanted to kind of embellish a little bit. Sometimes rock and roll isn't enough, but
It's
yeah,
Stampede too. There's some stories you tell, and there's probably some stories you don't tell. So.
I mean, so says you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, are you a big Stampede breakfast guy? Did you get to take that in when you were here for any of your other shows?
It's we have slightly unorthodox life schedules, so
Okay.
our night times usually go a little later than most. So breakfast is it's a rare phenomenon in our world.
The beauty of a lot of those ones is they run until 1 or 2 in the afternoon because I
Okay,
think they
well,
realize other people's routines go the same.
I will keep an eye out for breakfast this year.
There's the realistic possibility if you really wanted, if you were here for like 2 or 3 days, you could probably feed yourself only on Stampede pancake breakfasts for all 3 days that you're here.
Now, what would happen to me if I did that is the question.
I mean, like you're out in the sun on the fairway, you might have a little light stomach pain, maybe a little bit. I don't know.
And a nap that more resembles a coma than sleep,
You'll wake
by the
up
sounds of it.
You'll wake up back at home 3 days later. You'd be like, "What happened?" It's like, I don't know, man. You ate too many pancakes at the Stampede. It just is what it is. Wanted to ask you one more question about the Adventures of Ben Blank tour. Getting to play the new songs off the new record live and getting to play them in Canada. How is it feeling for the group?
Yeah, I mean, it's always sort of a reinvigoration of the spirit of a band to try to incorporate new music into the fold. And it's kind of like you bring in 8 or 9 new siblings into a family, a potentially dysfunctional family, that being said, but you're trying to find a place for them, and you're trying
Yeah.
to find a role for them to play, and you're trying to sort of make it so that um yeah, everything isn't just sort of spikes and tangents going off in all directions, that you feel like you're presenting the music that you make as a sort of cohesive whole. And this record has, we push it and pull it and stretch it in different directions to try to find that thing, try to find its place in it. And in order to do that, you have to go through some, yeah, especially on the tour, like you got to really stick to it, and
Yeah.
give each song its time on the stage, play it, see what feels good, see what feels uncomfortable sometimes, and work through that discomfort, and yeah, just make them feel a part of it. So I think that's what the tour did, and now it already feels like, I don't want to say second nature, because I mean, it's never quite that simple, but yeah, the new material now feels like it's part of what we do every day, and that feels good, and it gives you that fuels the next chapter. That
Yeah.
makes you that gives you a little bit of a boost of confidence, that when come back down here into the basement and start writing a song, that it too hopefully will find its way into the sort of the wider repertoire.
Totally. Totally. It was really interesting to hear a few of them at sound check and stuff in Calgary in the midst of a
Mm-hmm.
giant snowstorm, which was just so fitting for that last show. Here's hoping that it's not snowing at the Stampede show.
If I mean, I wouldn't put it past it at this point, but yeah, I'm hoping that we're free and clear of that. But yeah, I mean, that night in Calgary, I mean, it was so cool that and it's also a testament. It's not just the band's resilience; it's also the audience. They're like, yeah, so we're getting a foot of snow. We're
We're
still
still
going
going.
out to see you guys play, and that was I don't know. It just means a lot when people go the extra mile make it out that night.
This time they'll be trading in the snow jackets for the cowboy hats, and we'll be seeing you guys at the Wildhorse Saloon on July 4th, man. I'm so stoked for it.
I love it, Sam. Thanks, man. And see you in a couple of weeks. It's coming up fast.
Dude, it always comes up way faster than I'm ever expecting it.
I know.
I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be Stampede. It feels like it's like that every year. So awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Take care, and
all right,
we'll see you at the
too.
show.
Thanks for having me on, man.